Okay, here we are back again. I asked you guys to go up to the 8th row, which I did for myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we are going to fasten off. So let's fasten off. And we're going to slip stitch in the necks. Pull through. Wrap the yarn around and pull it all the way through that loop and pull tight. So here's our snout. Now to make the mouth. I'm going to be using a different color instead of black. I'm going to use red. Mix it up a bit. That's a great thing about these sock monkey beanies. You could make it striped, you could do all kinds of things and have different colors. Because it's supposed to be like a sock, so great. What am I doing here is I'm making a slip knot. And we're going to just chain up 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I want a long string, not that long, but long enough to go into my chain of 12. That's how long my string is. I fold it in half, that's how long it looks. That's pretty much it. I'm going to take this last one, I'm going to thread my string in there, making it pull tight. Now you want to thread the end of the long string with your needle. And if you look at your snout, you're going to see our chain of 12 right here. This is where we begin. This is pretty much where you're going to put your mouth at. You can have it straight, just like so, or you can go up a row and make it a smiley face. It's up to you. You can have it straight like that, or you can put it up one row on each side and then bring it back down on here and curving the ends only and making it a smiley face, which I'll be doing. So what I'm going to be doing is I line it up with the top row right here. This is where our chain is at, and I'm lining the very end of this, and I am sewing it on to the very top of that first row. And when I'm sewing it, I'm going in the stitch and out the other. And that is secured. Now I'm just going to go along the whole chain and line this down and leaving that other little piece right there so I can sew that on. So let's continue going in and out each stitch. Do your best on this. Just going in and out each of the chains. And I'm at the end again. That little piece I have left over, I'm going to pull it up to the top row right here, and I want to sew it into that top row. Now I have these two loose ends here, one from the chain that we did and the other one's from the other side. We're going to tie them together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right into that knot and pull it through from the inside out. And I'm going to leave that string in there. Now I'm going to grab the other one as well and do the same. And then I'm going to tie them together again. That way it's very, very secure. If you wash it in the machine, it won't unravel in any way. These extra knots actually keep it secured. So, he's smiling. We're going to fill this in. You can use polyester fill, or what I like to use is my recycling threads here. And I just fill it all up. These are all my loose ends from other projects of mine. As you can see, there's the other pieces of the sock monkey that we just did right now. The beanie. We got that brown and we got that blue in there. I'm going to leave that string out. My loose end. And we're just going to fill this up. Tuck it in there really good. You want it to be nice and firm on the outside. Don't overstuff it where your stitches are like popping out like that. You just want to like make sure it's nice and filled. Just a little bit more. And that looks good to me. Now I'm going to thread my needle with some white yarn, and you want to have enough to go all the way around the perimeter of that snout. So make sure your string is long enough. Thread your needle. Let's bring the beanie back to our table here. Now, I'm leaving the loose end right here out because I'm going to start from there and sew around. And when I get to the end here, I'll probably tie it together. You don't really necessarily have to. You can always just put it in there, sew it in there, just like so. And when you get to the end, you can tie them together, which you can do that too. We can do either or, so I'm going to probably do it the other way. It's probably much easier for me. You're lining this up with the bottom here. You don't want it over the blue. You want it right at the brown, just like so. And you just want to adjust your snout, making sure it's even right in the center of the beanie. Always make sure it's as even as possible. And start sewing it on. When I start sewing it on, I follow this line so I know it's going to be even. So I'm going to attach it to the brown here, as you can see. And I'm going right into the end of the stitches here. It's kind of difficult to sew this on, but do your very best. And I am using the stitches on the bottom here. You see these? Let me flip this over. I'm going into these stitches right here where you'll automatically start crocheting on. These are the stitches we're sewing into. As you can see here, I already did one of them. You want to keep on folding this out and try to get those stitches. You don't want to try to get stitches from over here. It'll start lopsiding, all kinds of stuff. Try to line it up exactly with these stitches right here. It makes the beanie come out way better. So, adjust this little guy. Let's put this on here. I'm moving along to the next stitch, and I'm going to just sew this on, going around the brown and the stitches. Lining it up, holding it down. If you have trouble holding it down, excuse me, use bobby pins or crochet markers to hold it down. In the brown, in the white. Every time you do it, make sure you're lining it up as good as possible. Make sure it's always even. If you make a mistake, you can always unthread your yarn. Trust me, I've unraveled projects so many times. Nobody's perfect, so if you need to unravel it, do so. Okay, now as you can see, it's starting to go up. You want to follow up the rows and try your hardest to make it as even. You don't want it sideways, you don't want it this way. Try your hardest to hold it down and sew it on there as much as you possibly can, because that's the tricky part of this beanie, and this is the only way I can show you how to do it. The more practice you get, the easier it gets. I'm not perfect myself, I'm just doing what I can. And I'm going on the top of the stitches of the brown. Turn this around so I can get a better look. I wrapped it around the ear. Okay, we're coming along the other side now. Try to tuck in those loose ends. You don't want none of those colors popping out. Always tuck them in. When you get to the top right here where I'm at, you want to follow the same stitches of the row, and that way you know it's going on straight from the top. And now we're coming along the other side. We're starting to bring this down on the stitches, going to each row pretty much, and just sewing this downwards. Okay, we're at the end here, and I took it off my needle. I'm going to tie a knot, and just like we did the smiley face, let's feed it right through the inside of this beanie. So I'm going to feed it right inside here and out another area. I'm just going to cut it off so it's tucked inside the snout. Didn't come out right. Try it again. Okay, save those loose ends. You can always use them for another project. Now, he's got a mouth. And yeah, mine came out pretty okay. See that? Now, the eyes. Large buttons, like I said, these are about 1 inch. You can always buy buttons on eBay. I find a lot of them on sale for like 100 of them for $1. You can always find them as free shipping, everything. So check that out. Great deals. And we're just going to sew these eyes on just like so. I'm going to go in the inside of my mouth here. See my mouth? I'm going to put those eyes right at the very edge of right here. See? I'm lining it up. And I'm going to put one there. And I'm lining that one up. I'm going to put one right there. So, to do that, I need to find my other needle. I had it here. There it is. I got my needle. Now I need the black thread because I got black buttons. You can use any color you desire. Cut a piece of the black yarn off. Thread your needle. And we are going to go from the inside of the beanie and out and sewing these on. So hold the button there. I like to put my hand in the beanie, use my thumb to hold it down, and use my other hand to sew it in, which is kind of hard to show you. See, I have my hand inside the beanie, my thumb holding it. I take my other hand in there and I start poking it through the button and start sewing this on. In one side and out the other. Just don't poke yourself. I have a tendency of doing that. Okay, that eye is on. I'm going to cut the rest of this yarn. I'm going to tie these two together, nice and tight. You can do a triple knot, double knot, just nice and tight. The button will not come loose. And if it does, you can always sew it back on. That happens to a lot of shirts and everything. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Line it up and hold it with my thumb any way I can. This side is kind of harder to do. So I'm folding my snout and holding it there. There we go. Cut it and tie it really tight just like you did the other side. Okay. And there's the eyes. Now, you can put eyebrows like I did with the girl sock monkey, so you can always go to the girl sock monkey and do that if you like. I'm going to leave them just like this, and now we can do the mohawk. Ooh. For the mohawk, I'm going to use different colors. You can just use one color, and we're going to be needing a lot of yarn. And your yarn should be at least 6 inches long. And I have this ruler right here, and I just use this as my guideline, and I cut a lot of strings. I can't tell you how many strings because you're going to just use a lot, and just keep on cutting 6 inches of your yarn. If you're going to do mixed color like myself, just cut a bunch of them off, all 6 inches long, and just continue doing that. Can't tell you how many. Just do a little bit. If you need more, cut some more. But say about 50, 60 maybe strings, 100 strings total. So I'm not sure exactly how many strings. You're just going to cut, and then if you need to, you don't want to waste so much yarn, just cut the amount that you cut a little bit, like that much. We'll do the top, then you'll cut more and do the rest of the beanie and just cut some more, and just do little by little so you don't cut all your yarn and then have a bunch of little strings left over. So just continue cutting 6 inches of yarn, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go through the blue, and I'm going to make a little stack here. I'm going to do my white and the black, and then we'll come back to our next tutorial and put in this mohawk. So continue cutting yours like the way I'm doing mine, 6 inches long, and we're going to put this mohawk in.